Good evening, and welcome back to the But Why Podcast, the show where you don't particularly need any of the information, but you'll find out anyway. I'm your host, Steve, and I'm Brenda. On today's docket, if pro wrestling is fake, then what's real about it? That truly is an interesting question, Steve. What does pro wrestling even have to offer to the viewers if it's fake? That's the question. For curious minds that crave the known, the But Why Podcast helps your questions be sown. Brenda first. Wrestling is fake, just not in the way you might be thinking. Whatever do you mean? Promoters are always writing long-term stories to help flesh out their wrestlers. So they write wrestling matches, but do they write anything else? Of course they do. They write the plot, promos, matches, and endings. Think of their work as a storybook, going from beginning to end. Oh, like the story between Kane and The Undertaker? That had years of writing, first starting off as mortal enemies and eventually becoming the Brothers of Destruction. You got it, Brenda. But don't wrestlers put in a lot of effort to get these audience invested? Absolutely, Brenda. Wrestlers put tons of time getting their characters just right and convince the audience to cheer or boo them. They also have a thing called kayfabe, which is a portrayal of fake things as real. So wrestlers will fake their actions to convince people it's real? Interesting. What's really interesting is the fact that in present day we are seeing more realism in characters and we get to see behind the scenes. How amazing that we've gotten closer to the wrestlers after all these years. But we will be back to you right after these messages. Are your kids bothering you? Do you wish they would just take a nap? Well, now that you can help them with Sleepy Time Spray, the all-new sleep enhancer guaranteed to work in just under a minute. Simply spray Sleepy Time on a cloth and gently place it on your child's mouth, and it's right to bed. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend this for any rowdy child. And what does that pesky 10th doctor have to say? This is literally just chloroform. Oh, that's enough out of you. Get your Sleepy Time Spray today, just for $23.99. And we'll even throw in a free cloth if you call in right now at 888-754-0067. Terms may apply. Sleepy Time is not responsible for any potential brain damage in humans. And we're back with more wrestling. And guess what I found out, Steve? What? That your husband cheated on you again? No, silly. That wrestlers go through about 6 car crashes worth of damage to their body every year. Oh, and I hear we're getting a caller. Hello, this is the But Why Podcast. What can we do for Nacho fan Sandy Ravage? Oh yeah, I'll tell you what it is as a pro wrestler. I've torn my ACL and I've torn my tricep, and I have chronic knee and hip pain from those elbow drops. Oh yeah. You see, Steve, wrestlers injure themselves all the time. Exactly. Take May Mysterio, who's torn his ACL 11 times at least. Oh, of course. And who can forget concussions? Chris Nowinski, a former WWE superstar and Harvard graduate, suffered a career-ending concussion while wrestling. Yep. Then he went on to become one of the figureheads of concussion and CTE research. Chris Benoit, another wrestler who was known as the best technical wrestler of his time, suffered from CTE damage and had his brain autopsied after he died. It was found that at 40 years old, his brain had the same damage as an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient. So, wrestling is a dangerous form of entertainment? Absolutely. Wrestlers put their lives on the line so that we have an entertaining product. Oh, and that's just in time for another break. In a world where the only thing louder than the explosions is the existential dread, one man, Agent Steve the Quip Hardbody, is forced to confront the universe's greatest mystery. Why is this happening? He's not just a spy. He's a highly unprepared investigative podcast host. This summer, find out what happens when you ask the question before you throw the punch. But why? The explosive question. Rated PG-ish. Probably. Wow, a movie all about me. Am I even in it? Whose show is it again? Oh, and we're back to even more wrestling. Did you know Ronald Rump employs a wrestling persona during debates and meetings? Whatever do you mean by that? I mean, he acts like a wrestler. Rump has been a fan for a long time, even appearing as a character on the show and being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Sounds like our president should have been a wrestler. Oh, it sounds like we're getting another call. Welcome to the But Why podcast. Hello, Stephen Brenda. I'm a longtime fan and will be telling you on how I use a wrestling persona. I often use tactics that heels use in wrestling. The best tactics, where I push against the norm to do what's best for America. I also tend to cut promos, where I use exaggerated language to relay what I want during a speech. I also have a friend here to confirm what I say. My fellow podcast hosts, it's me, Obama. I can indeed confirm that this orange man uses these tactics in debate. Thank you so much for calling us. Uh, oh, and the line disconnected. Anywho, wrestling affects real life as well. Like in the Cold War, where Americans like Bulk Rogan and Iranians like the Brass Elder would consistently be battling and reflected of the respective countries during the war. Fights in the WWE would always reflect good and evil, like more recently Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Cody's goal was loved by all. All he wanted to do was finish his father's legacy. And Roman was cutthroat, doing whatever it means necessary to stay at the top of the company. But one way or another, good always prevails. Cody finished his father's legacy when he beat Roman Reigns for the title. Oh, and that means we're out of time. We hope you learned something unuseful on this episode of the But Why podcast, and we hope you can see the realism of wrestling just a little more. Join us next time where we ask the question, is a hot dog a sandwich? For curious minds that crave the known, the But Why podcast helps your questions be sent. Thank you to everyone who listened in on this. I made this for my English 101 project. I remixed a paper I wrote entitled The Realism of Wrestling, and it was a pleasure to change it up and do this little podcast. Thank you so much for listening, Professor Guess, and anybody else who may listen. Have a wonderful, wonderful year.